Hey there YouTubers, today I'm going to make my semi-famous Chex Mix. And basically I just use the rice and corn Chex. I don't use the wheat Chex because for me they just get too done. What makes my Chex Mix a little better than I think a lot of Chex Mixes is I just really use the things that I super like, and I don't put things in just to fill it up, just to add space to it. So, which actually is what the Chex is. No one actually likes the Chex. I don't actually use that much Chex in my Chex Mix. So, besides the Chex, I like to use the pita chips, goldfish, pretzel thins. I also have the pretzel goldfish. Instead of mixed nuts, I just use cashews and almonds. I usually like to use the smoked almonds, but these were already here, so there you have it. Sesame sticks are delicious in there. These are hot Cajun corn sticks. They're a little spicy. I usually go pretty thin with those, but they're just kind of nice in there. I like to use the roasted garlic rye chips. And then the secret weapon that makes this awesome are the honey mustard pretzel pieces. This is the Anderson. I usually use the Snyder, but once again, just like the almonds, this is what was here. So I'm going to use these and see how they turn out. Should be okay. And then the main winner in this Chex Mix are toffee nuts. Everybody that tries it, they're eating it, they're like, oh my god, what was that? It was a toffee nut. For the seasoning, I just used the directions right off of the Chex Mix, or off of the rice Chex box. And it calls for that stuff, and seasoned salt, onion powder, and garlic powder, and that just goes into some butter that I have melting. It actually says, I'll read the directions here, 3/4 teaspoon garlic, and half a teaspoon onion, 1.5 teaspoons seasoned, and 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire. When I make my Chex Mix, what I do is I kind of reverse load it. So what I want to have happen is the things that need less flavor added to them go on the bottom of the pan, and then I work my way up to the top so that the Chex are on top. So I'm going to use these pretzels first because I don't need them to absorb flavor, and then a couple other things. Anyhow, I'm going to get it started and come back. The other thing I do is I don't use whole pieces in here, so I'll just snap it and let it go because the whole piece is too big, and when you have to stir this, you don't want to be trying to stir a whole pretzel or pita chip or anything like that. They just won't stir. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just making enough to cover the bottom of a pan. I'm just making a little layer across these, and then I'm just going to keep building it up, kind of like if you've ever seen like a 7-layer dip or something like that. That's kind of the effect, but it'll get stirred up. It won't be layered at the end. So what I got in there right now is the pretzels, wheat thins, these mini Triscuits, which are pretty nifty because they're already small, and then I'm just going to put a dusting, again, you know, a thin layer of my Chex cereal on top, and then I'm going to apply my butter sauce to it, and I'm going to go ahead and then I'll put that in the oven, and then I got the oven at 200, and I'm going to, at 15 minutes, I'm going to pull it out, stir everything up, stick it back in the oven, and I do that 4 times. Now the first 2 times I'm just going to have the stuff you see right here in there, and then I'm going to start adding other things to it, things that don't need the flavor that I get off the Worcestershire sauce and the butter. Okay, this is my sauce I'm putting on it. The tricky part is there's a lot of solids in here that aren't dissolving, so you have to stir it frequently, and I'm just going to take a spoonful at a time, just this much, and put it over, drizzle it over one pan, and then just go back and forth until it's all gone. So just a little bit over each pan, and I'll come back and do them all. And I will tell you from experience, it always seems like it's not enough that you're putting over the top, and yet it always is. So if you're making this and you're like, wow, that wasn't enough, it's going to thin out, and when you stir it, it's just going to spread everywhere. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, I've done 2 stirs, and now I'm going to start adding things that don't need as much of the Worcestershire flavor. So I'm going to start putting in these Cajun sticks, and I'm going to put in my sesame sticks, and I'm going to add in what are these, goldfish, things like that. And I'm going to put in a layer of nuts in, and then stir it up and stick her back in the oven. Alright, I'm on my final stir. I'm getting ready to add in, which is ironically the most important part of the whole thing. It's the pieces that don't actually need cooking but provide the pop and the interesting flavor that everybody loves. So I'm going to put the pretzel pieces in, the honey mustard pretzel pieces, and I've tasted these. These are okay, but if you can get the Snyder's, they're a little more potent. I think they taste better. And then the other item is the toffee nut. And I put these in late because I don't want the toffee to melt too much. But if they get a little gooey with the other stuff, that's good. And I'm going to stir these up, put them back in, and when I pull them out, it'll be done. So this is the finished product, and as you can tell, it makes quite a bit. It's going to last a while. And what's handy are these little cans right here. They're super awesome just to give somebody. And really, one of those that's like a day's worth, because once you start eating this, you cannot stop. But anyhow, hope you like this video, and you'll be making the best Chex Mix you ever had. Thanks for watching.